My name is Jacob. I am a current Cal Poly student, and living in California my whole life, religious diversity hasn't been so apparent to me because I've just been around it, my entire life. Um, with this, I've reached out to a couple of close friends of mine. They are, in fact, Mormon, and they have served in missions kind of outside of California, some in other countries. This is their experience and their opinion on religious diversity coming back to California now since they've been gone and dealing with other peoples, dealing with other cultures. This is their experience coming back to California and what they see now.
My name is Matthew McClellan, and I served as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the country of New Zealand for 2 years.
Okay, and so let's just hear some background of the people, the culture, kind of culture shock maybe, and kind of general background of the religious kind of area.
Okay, so New Zealand was basically founded by missionaries from different churches in the 1800s. So the mid-1800s, the Catholic Church came in, the Baptist Church came in, and a lot of the other sects, like the Anglican Church and all the other denominations, they came in and tried to convert everyone that was in New Zealand and try to turn that country over to Christianity. And so there's a lot of old churches all over New Zealand. Every corner you'll find a church, and they're all different. But I'd say a strong one would be the Catholic Church all over New Zealand. And so when I went to New Zealand coming from California, it was much different because Christianity was everywhere, crosses on every street corner. Every house I knocked on, which was quite a few, pretty much all of them were members of some church and had been for generations because they came from the European countries like England and Scotland a lot.
What about culture? Was it kind of different? California, everything's for kind of beach bums and stuff like that. What about just the people in general of the area? And the culture.
New Zealand people are actually quite relaxed because it is a small country. A lot of them fall into doing the same jobs, the same work, the same lifestyle for their whole lives because it's easy to do. There's not much progression business-wise because there's only 4 million people in New Zealand, so things don't grow too quickly. And if your dad was a farmer, you pretty much take over the farm and become a farmer as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so coming back to California, what are some of the adjustments you made and maybe some of the observations of, maybe religious diversity or, people, or, even practicing your own religion?
Okay. I guess I found myself when I came back to California after being away for 2 years, I was looking for a lot of churches. I was recognizing more churches and saying, oh, there's a church there I didn't notice before. But there are a lot more diverse here in California. Like I said, New Zealand is Catholic, Anglican, Baptist, kind of the main denominations. But when you come to California, you see so many different denominations that I've never even heard of, Christian-wise, and then you find churches that aren't Christian, and they're way different. And obviously they practice different beliefs, and that's a big difference between here and New Zealand, is that New Zealand is predominantly Christian.
There's the diversity,
Yeah.
So would you say that people are more kind of open and more free-flowing in their kind of thoughts and spirituality, more so in California than kind of more so in New Zealand?
Yeah, because I was predominantly talking to people about Jesus Christ in New Zealand. It was really easy to do, but I don't think it would be as accepted here in California because there's so many different...
You don't know kind of who you're talking to.
Yeah, they
Okay.
could not believe in Jesus Christ, or they could. You have no idea.
Cool.
Hello, my name is Stratton Wolf. I was a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for 2 years. Had the opportunity to go to North Carolina, the Raleigh side, so pretty much the eastern half of North Carolina. It was incredibly diverse over there, not only people but religious-wise as well. In one of my areas, I got to serve with Duke professors, lawyers, you name it, some of the most intellectual, just brilliant people in the world, and next street over, you had Billy Joe married to their cousin. Not even kidding. But not only that, just the people and the culture was so rich, but the religious side was as well. It was very heavily Christian faith, and there was a lot of different sects and branches off of that. I'd have to say it was very heavily Baptist and non-denominational. So that kind of made it an interesting challenge on my part, because a lot of people had a misconception of my faith, of the Mormon faith, and so something I found really interesting, kind of the contrast between California and over on the East Coast, over in North Carolina, was a lot of the people would wear their faith, like they'd put it on their license plate that they were believers in Christ. They'd have t-shirts made, and they would talk about it a lot more, versus over here where you do have a lot of different people that they believe in Christ, they go to church and they do all these things, but they don't really talk about it, I feel like, as much. And so, especially for me growing up, I felt like it was a little bit less in your face, and then it was kind of an eye shocker, kind of an opener. As I went over to North Carolina, it was more in your face. Everybody was believing it, and so I thought that was super neat.
Okay, so throughout that, you said a lot of it was, Jesus and Christ and stuff like that. So would you say Christianity was kind of like the main staple there, whereas California, people kind of seem to be more quiet about it because they might not necessarily be Christian. California is a pretty diverse place as far as religion goes. You have very wide different belief ranges. You have some people don't even like to associate with a certain religion. They just say they're spiritual. How do you think that differentiates between North Carolina and California?
That's a really good point. I'd say in North Carolina, pretty much everybody either believes in Jesus Christ or they don't believe in anything at all. And then you bring up a really good point. I'd say over here you do have a lot of different religions. Like you have Scientology, you have people that are atheists that don't believe in it. And so I would say that there's a lot more
variety almost.
Yeah, variety of different religions, or the lack of religions in some cases, I guess.
It's just kind of a quieter matter.
Yeah, most definitely. And when over there, I feel like it's just one solid. Everybody believes in Christ, and everybody's kind of arguing about Christ. Rather over here,
like the angle of which they,
Yeah, and over here in California, it's more like just different animals altogether.
Yeah.
You know.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.